we look at the capital markets, we can see sentiment is definitely lifting. We can see that in credit spreads. Credit spreads relative to US Treasuries have come in quite dramatically. If you look at credit default swaps, the cost to insure debt has been coming in quite substantially. High yields working very nicely, as is investment grade. And that's given me some confidence that markets continue to push higher in the short term. Oil prices are getting to the top end of their range of that 36.28, which is the January high. And again, that's really underpinning the positive sentiment we're seeing with the S&P, NASDAQ printing higher highs as well. And if you look at implied volatility in the markets, they are coming down. And that's really good for financial markets indeed. We are seeing a situation where if you look at that in the currency market, the currency to be long is the Australian dollar. When you see implied volatility coming down, carry trades will work very well. The question is what currency do you want to play that again? And the two currencies which seem to be working quite well right now is Aussie yen to the upside and Euro Aussie to the short side. And I really want to focus on potential downside that we're seeing in the Euro against the Australian dollar. If you look at price action at the moment, if you look at the setup that we're seeing on the daily chart in Euro against the Australian dollar, we can see that the RSIs are falling. They're falling fairly aggressively. It tells you the momentum is to the downside. That rate of changing prices to the downside. We've broken through that range of December highs. In fact, I want to place a stop just around that 154 level, and I want to target a move into around the 146 level. We can see that the price has made a lower low. We can see it's broken through the neckline of the double top, which does target 146, and therefore that's really a pretty decent risk reward trade for me. The fundamentals also make a bit of sense. Now we know that the RBA are loath to cut rates any time soon. Growth is not particularly brilliant, and we know that the RBA does have an easing bias, but I don't sit in the camp personally that they are going to cut rates anytime soon, and the market's pricing over 40 basis points of cuts over 12 months. So that suggests to me that those rate cuts will probably come out, and that will be supportive of the Australian dollar. As long as the backdrop and the volatility stays low, people will look to pick up the high yielding currencies, which makes Aussie Euro or Euro Aussie quite attractive from the short side there as well. Another opportunity, if we take our time frame out and look at the weekly chart of Euro Australian dollar, we can see a really nice setup, a multi-month double top. I looked on the daily top at a double top that was in the short term. If you look at the weekly chart, you can see a much more prolonged double top that comes in, and the neckline's around that sort of 146, 145 level. If we get a break of that, then you'd be looking at Euro Aussie into the 130 regions, the 135 regions over a longer period of time. And again, that's going to be one of the greatest trades that we'll probably see if we do see this weekly double top being broken. So longer term, Euro Aussie looks like a brilliant short from a longer term perspective. Daily, we're probably going to look for a move down into that 146 level. The trend and the fundamentals are definitely working for us. And if you look at the ECB meeting, which is going to come out on the 10th of March, we are expecting very dovish action to come through. We know the board is going to be comprised of more dovish people. There's going to be less Germans on the voting committee. A lot is being priced in, there's no doubt whatsoever about that, but we are expecting the ECB to come out guns a-blazing, especially with inflation expectations at record lows. And I think the Euro Aussie looks like a good short at current levels, with a stop at 154, moving into that 146 level and perhaps even further down over the period of time.